Hi, welcome to our channel of ignou audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Social Sciences, SOSS, Master's Degree Programs, MA in Psychology, MAP, Second Year, MPCE 0 to 3 Interventions in Counseling, Block-3 Other Counseling Interventions, Unit-3 Family and Group Counseling, 3.0 Introduction. In this unit we will be discussing about the intervention methods other than the psychoanalytical psychodynamic-oriented counseling. Here we introduce group, family counseling as two important interventions for the individuals to overcome their problems. This unit describes the different approaches used in family group counseling. The group process and group dynamics are explained in terms of family and group interventions. The unit then puts forward the techniques of family counseling. Since the group counseling differs from family counseling, the kind of groups that are formed for group counseling are explained. This is followed by the criteria for selecting the group members, as all sorts of persons cannot be put into a group. Every group has a purpose in terms of intervention, and thus the criteria are put forward to decide who would be the members of the group. This unit then presents the entire process in group and family counseling. 3.1 Objectives. After completing this unit, you will be able to define family and group counseling, describe the characteristic features of group and family counseling, explain the various group settings for counseling, analyze the process of group and family counseling, elucidate the values of group and family counseling, delineate the various approaches to group and family counseling, and analyze the types of communication that may cause disturbance in the families. 3.2 Introduction to Group and Family. Humans are social animals and they enjoy one another's company, and in the process, they learn more. Individuals seek their social needs through group and they learn how through groups they can achieve their social needs. In group counseling, the concept of this gratification of needs through groups is considered in great detail as the counselor uses these groups to help the individual to overcome not only individual problems but also how to get maximum satisfaction through interacting with the members of the group. When we talk about groups, family is also a group of one type. If a counselor wants to deal with the emotional life of the person, the family of this person has to be contacted, as through the family the counselor will be able to learn about the typical interaction patterns amongst family members and also will be able to help the client to modify his interaction pattern through group or family therapy. Family is a place from where an individual starts his/her first learning. Whatever a person learns, he does so from his family members through communication, imitation, and dealings with day-to-day life problems. He enters the world with those knowledge, based on the experiences which he had in his family and in all his interactions with the family members. So the family is the first platform which provides the foundation to the individual to face the world as the individual grows up into an adult. It is the belief of counselors and all mental health professionals that if a person is having any type of emotional problem, not only the person should come to the counselor to resolve his conflicts, but also he should bring in his very close family members and others so as to improve the communication among family members. And the family structure. Family-oriented counselor always focuses on family system and if possible restructures it. If the family structure is not cohesive and if there are communication gaps among the family members, a person's mental health might be detrimentally affected. Family-oriented counselors believe that counseling of significant persons along with the client can improve the interpersonal relations and resolve the emotional conflicts of a person. Group counseling also plays an important role to enhance mental health. Webster's Third New World International Dictionary, unabridged, defines a group as a number of individuals bound together by a common interest, purpose, or function. In the present-day context, the groups are functional and also goal-oriented. Aggregate groups without interaction of the members are not functioning groups. More than 100 years ago, the psychologist William James 1890, wrote that man is not only a gregarious animal liking to be noticed by fellow humans, he also experiences a terrible punishment when he is left alone and other humans do not take notice of him. Hence, interaction is very essential for humans to keep good mental health. Therapists, too, in general agree that human relationships are important not only for gratifying people's basic needs but also it influences the day to day life adjustment of the individual. Group counseling makes an individual to learn the skill which makes strong the interpersonal relationships. These relationships, if become strong, they would facilitate positively the emotional life of a person. In groups, an individual experiences dealing with significant others in the outside world and environment, and in the process learns the group values. These group values are beneficial for all interpersonal relationships, whether of friends, authority, or family members. The family itself may be viewed as a small system or network of relationships. The network of relationships can be understood in terms of multigenerational approach, 2. Interpersonal relationship approach, and 3. Structural approach. 3.2.1 Multigenerational approach. Marie Bowen identifies two central forces in interpersonal functioning. The first is a movement toward individuality, the second a movement toward togetherness. According to object relation theory of infant development, there are two trends in mother-child interaction, that is, the desire for separation, and 2. The desire for attachment. Desire for separation indicates individuality and a desire for attachment is equal to the togetherness. Bowen focuses on the concept of differentiation, that is, an ability to involve others but simultaneously remains on own self. According to him, a person develops his ways of differentiation through his relationships in family. He also suggests that even images of grandparents or morals are also the parts of the development. There are generation-to-generation family messages running in family. They affect the cognition and behavior of an individual. The aim of his approach is to aware family members about their history and impact of it on the client's emotional life. It is a very hard task to aware all family members and change their attitude and behavior in a family. 3.2.2 Approaches in interpersonal functioning. Milton Erickson, Watzlawick, Weekland, and Fish have put forward 4 basic steps for producing change in families. According to them, the family therapy should define the family problem. 2. Determine what the family has done to resolve the problem. 3. Establish family goals. And 4. Construct therapeutic interventions designed to disrupt the typical pattern of interaction sustaining the problem. This approach tells about the expectation the counselor has from the client rather than restructuring of the family. The cognitive understanding of the therapist about the client's conflicts may interfere with the unconscious and it may lead to change. 3.2.3 Structural approaches. This technique basically focuses on modification of family system. The study of the family system was given by Salvatore Minichin. According to him, the power and degree of influence of family members on the overall family system is significant, and where the defect in interaction is noted, the family system has to be restructured. Also, any negative incident or wrong happening, e.g. death of a significant member, divorce or separation of parents, also influences the family structure. The environment of the family may cause interpersonal conflicts and emotional problems. The family members may act out due to some problem in the family environment. Whatever the communication pattern of the family, the most important things that matter are the feelings of attachment and separation towards each other. The goal of structural approaches is to involve the persons in a system of relationships that is adequately differentiated but still related to others. In other words, the task is to facilitate a cognitive and behavioral balance of the individual and of the family. In relation to the environment, therapeutic task with families is to restructure the power and rules of the family with the ultimate goal of balancing enmeshment and detachment through culturally appropriate boundaries between individuals. Important in this process is returning the family hierarchy to a situation where parents are in charge rather than the children. 3.3 Group process and group dynamics. In group activities, two terms are often used: with I process and two dynamics. Although sometimes these terms are also used interchangeably, in counseling they have different meaning. Group process refers to the continuous, ongoing movement of the group toward achievement of its goals. It represents the flow of the group from its starting point to its termination. It is a means of identifying or describing the stages through which the group passes. Group dynamics, on the other hand, refers to the social forces and interplay operative within the group at any given time. It describes the interaction of a group and can indicate the impact of leadership, group roles, and membership participation in groups. It is a means of analyzing the interaction between and among the individuals within a group. Group dynamics is also used on occasion to refer to certain group techniques, such as role-playing, decision-making, rap sessions, observation.
Counselors may view various group activities as occurring at three levels: filled circle group guidance, filled circle group counseling, and filled circle group therapy. Group guidance refers to group activities that focus on providing information or experiences through a planned and organized group activity. The content could include educational, vocational, personal, or social information, with a goal of providing group members with accurate information that will help them make more appropriate plans and life decisions. Group counseling refers to the routine adjustment or developmental experiences provided in a group setting. Group counseling focuses on assisting counselees to cope with their day-to-day adjustment and other concerns. Examples might focus on behavior modification, developing personal relationship skills, concerns of human sexuality, values or attitudes, or career decision-making. Group therapy provides intense experiences for people with serious adjustment, emotional, or developmental needs. Therapy groups are usually distinguished from counseling groups by both the length of time and the depth of the experience for those involved. Therapy group participants often are individuals with chronic mental or emotional disorders requiring major personality reconstruction. Group therapists obviously require a higher level of training. 3.4 Group approaches. Group approaches are of many types according to different psychological theories. According to psychoanalytic approach, the client learns during the group counseling about the faulty psychological development associated with the past experience. Also, the client learns the corrective emotional experiences. According to Adler, in group counseling, the client explores his/her basic life assumptions and achieves a broader understanding of lifestyle. In psychodrama, for instance, the client learns to release his pent-up emotions and learns to develop new and more effective behaviors. According to existential approach, the client learns to maximize his self-awareness and discover his meaning of life. According to person-centered therapy, the client learns in group participation to utilize his maximum potentials. Gestalt approach enables the client to pay close attention to moment-to-moment experiences. He/she integrates the disowned aspects of himself/herself. According to transactional analysis, the client learns to re-examine his communication and interactions. The client makes new ones on the basis of awareness. In behavior group therapy, a client do rehearsals in groups. He learns to remove maladaptive behavior. His appropriate behavior is reinforced. According to rational emotive behavior therapy, the client learns in group how to eliminate his irrational outlook. And he learns to have a rational one. In reality therapy in group members reevaluate their behavior whether it is realistic and responsible or not. They also decide a plan of action for change. 3.5 Techniques of family therapy. Some of the important techniques of family therapy are described below. Joining. Since the counselor has to understand the structure and basic rules of the family, he joins the family and participates as a member to make them understand the utility of each rule for the growth of the family. He can convey the positive meanings of conversations amongst family members. He also makes the family members realize about the misconversations that retard the growth of the family. Enactment. This is similar to role-playing as it might be used in assertiveness training. Changes may be produced and suggested by the therapist. Added to enactment may be a paradoxical directive in which the therapist instructs the family to continue what they are already doing to exaggerate the behavior. Tracking. In tracking, the counselor carefully listens to the conversations among the family members and tries to understand the patterns and order. The counselor suggests the immediate reenactment of the conversations and makes the family members realize the positive impact of the tracking which they can do now. Restructuring techniques. In this, the therapist suggests the different patterns of conversations which the family members can practice when they do transactions with each other, as for example, at the dining table. Circular questioning. In this, the therapist asks one member of the family to say what another member of the family is thinking. This he repeats with every member of the family in a number of situations. It helps the family members to correct their perceptions and also to know their part in the conversations. Reframing. The aim here is to see each and every member of the family and his or her problem as a problem of the family as a whole. They are able to realize the goal behind solving the problem and to see the problem from different perspectives. Accommodation. This is parallel to empathy and is another word for acceptance of what is present in the family. The family members also work on the body language practice, which sometimes gives wrong impression to others. 3.6 Types of groups in counseling. In counseling, different types of groups are used depending on the nature of intervention needed. These groups are given below. 3.6.1 T groups. T groups are training groups and they represent an effort to create a society in miniature with an environment designed especially for learning. T groups are relatively unstructured groups in which the participants become responsible for what they learn and how they learn it. This enables client how to function and behave in a group. It is beneficial when the relationships are authentic. 3.6.2 Sensitivity groups. A sensitivity group focuses on personal and interpersonal issues and on the personal growth of the individual. Emphasis in sensitivity groups is on self-insight, which means that the central focus is not the group and its progress, but it is rather the individual member. 3.6.3 Encounter groups. Rogers, 1967, defines an encounter group as a group that stresses personal growth through the development and improvement of interpersonal relationships via an experiential group process. Such groups seek to release the potential of the participants. After practicing, the individual feels safe to drop some of his/her defenses. He will come to understand himself and his relationship to others more accurately. He will change in his personal attitudes and behavior and will subsequently relate more effectively to others in everyday life situation. Extended encounter groups are often referred to as marathon groups. The marathon encounter group uses an extended block of time in which massed experience and accompanying fatigue are used to break through the participants' defenses. Although encounter groups offer great potential for the increased self-awareness of the group members, as well as increased sensitivity towards others, such groups can also create high levels of anxiety and frustration. Obviously, if encounter groups are to have maximum potential and minimal risk, they must be conducted by highly skilled and experienced counselors. 3.6.4 Task groups. Task groups are organized to meet organizational needs through task forces or other organizational groups or to serve individual needs of clients through such activities as social action groups. These groups are frequently useful to organizations seeking ways to improve their functioning. In agency counseling centers, task groups may be organized to assist clients in dealing with a wide spectrum of needs ranging from spiritual to educational. 3.6.5 Psychoeducation groups. Psychoeducation groups emphasize cognitive and behavioral skill development in groups structured to teach these skills and knowledge. Psychoeducational groups are oriented more toward guidance than toward counseling or therapy. These groups tend to be short-term in duration and focused on specifically delineated goals. Attention is directed at current life situations, and interactions within the group are related to the group theme. 3.6.6 Mini groups. Although technically two or more people can constitute a group, the use of the term mini group has become increasingly popular in recent years to denote a counseling group that is smaller than usual. A mini group usually consists of one counselor and a maximum of 4 clients. Because of the smaller number of participants, certain advantages can result from the more frequent and direct interaction of the group members. Withdrawal by individuals and the development of factions or cliques are less likely in mini groups. 3.6.7 In groups and out groups. Although in groups and out groups are not formal groups organized or overseen by counselors, they often have important influences on client behaviors. These groups can be based on almost any criteria: socioeconomic status, athletic or artistic accomplishments, in schools especially, a particular ability, racial or cultural origins, and so forth. In-groups are characterized by association mostly with peers who share the defining characteristic, and out-groups consist of those who are excluded from in-groups. In many counseling situations, it is important for counselors to understand how clients see themselves and others in terms of in or out groups. 3.6.8 Social networks. Although not a group in a formal sense, a social network results from the choices that individuals make in becoming members of various groups. As counselors, we may be concerned with how these choices are made and what their impact is on individuals. Sociologists engage in social network analyses to determine how the interconnectedness of certain individuals in a society can produce interaction patterns influencing others both inside and outside the network.
3.7 Selection of group members. When the counseling groups are constituted, they are made according to certain criteria. The counselor must have factual information about the subject's personality, traits, their emotional problems, and their lifestyle. According to the criteria, members can be selected to be a part of the group based on the following. 1. One can ask family members or significant others of the client regarding the problem of the client and place them in the group according to the problem. 2. The adjustment and achievement of group members may be another criteria. For instance, the educational level of the person or the job that they are holding could be another criteria to place the individual in a certain group as members. 3. Homogeneity could be another criteria, that the persons being placed in the group are from the same background or having similar family structure, etc., or belonging to the same age group. 4. Sometimes heterogeneity could also be a criteria in that persons with opposite personality traits could be placed together. For instance, aggressive person with a submissive person, an extroverted person with a person who is introvert, etc. Other criteria include the following: A. Common interest. B. Volunteer or self-referred. C. Willingness to participate in the group process. And D. Ability to participate in the group process. After the groups have been formed, it is important to take the feedback of group members in terms of whether the person likes to be in the group, whether the person is able to express himself in the group, whether he is able to analyze the conflicts and other emotional problem and able to modify his behavior. Only if the individual is agreeable to be part of a group, he would be put in a particular group. The following should be considered during the process of screening interviews for possible group membership, according to Gibson Robert L. Mitchell Marians, H. 2008. The counselor should identify the ground rules that group members are expected to follow. These would include: A. The right of all group members to express their views. B. The suggestion that no personal viewpoint is unimportant. And C. The absolute necessity for confidentiality. 3.8 Process in group and family counseling. The initial group time is used to acquaint the new group membership with the format and processes of the group, to orient them to such practical considerations as frequency of meetings, duration of group, and length of group meeting time. Additionally, the beginning session is used to initiate relationships and open communications among the participants. The counselor also may use beginning sessions to answer questions that clarify the purpose and processes of the group. The establishment of the group is a time to further prepare members for meaningful group participation and to set a positive and promising group climate. The group counselor must remember that in the initial group sessions, the general climate of the group may be a mixture of uncertainty, anxiety, and awkwardness. The group members may not know each other and may feel strange to express in a group which has members who are unknown to them or unfamiliar to them. It is, therefore, important for the counselor to introduce each member to the group and break the ice before starting any session. The counselor must provide a lot of opportunities for the members to interact with each other so that the feelings of unfamiliarity or strangeness will reduce and the group members will start interacting with less inhibition. It is important in this initial stage of group establishment for the leader to take sufficient time to ensure that all members of the group have their questions and concerns addressed. The counselor should ensure that they understand the process and begin to feel comfortable in the group. Of course, the impression that the group counselor makes in this initial stage is of utmost importance to the smooth and successful process of the group. 3.8.1 Determining the characteristics of the group. Size of the group. First of all, the size of the group is to be decided. The size should be appropriate for the activities planned and outcomes anticipated. Size will also have an influence on the operational format of the group. Format planning includes determining the types of activities of the group, the length of time allotted for each group session, the number of sessions, and the setting, role of the counselor. Another important thing is the role of the counselor, whether active or passive, invited or voluntary participation. Sometimes the group members are voluntarily participating in the group activity, counseling, or sometimes they are asked invited for the same. The characteristics of the group are decided and then the members are selected. The counselor must verify that what strategies he/she is going to apply on group. Each and every member of the group should get benefit from it. Structure or operational format. In establishing the membership of the group, the leader must verify that the planned activity will respond to the needs of the individual member and that the structure or operational format will be comfortable for the group member. In large groups, such as those organized for orientation purposes, career needs, or other special information purposes, this is not necessarily essential, but for smaller, intimate groups, it is an important consideration. 3.8.2 Monitoring the ongoing activities. Once the activities start, the counselor observes not only the benefit accrued to the group members but also the behavior of all members is taken into consideration, and the interactive effect of their communication with one another are noted. Whatever changes take place in the members as result if interaction in the group are noted by the counselor, which may be used by him in individual sessions also. The counselor must, therefore, be constantly on the alert to detect such changes and symptoms and to use his or her skills to minimize these effects. The ongoing activities of the group are meaningful only as long as they promote the progress of the group and its members toward their goals. Also, the productivity of group members in the right direction is necessary. It is checked by the counselor from time to time. 3.8.3 Evaluating outcomes and productivity. The counselor also evaluates the outcome of the group members. The goals and measures of the group counseling should be clear. The counselor should monitor the ongoing process in this regard. Criteria for measuring outcome should also be decided. This would decide which method and activity is more effective. Such evaluations can assist counselors and others involved to determine which group guidance activities are most effective and which techniques within groups are most and least effective. 3.8.4 Values development activities for groups. It is believed that rights are equal for man and woman, education of all, freedom to express emotion, respect for elderly, these all are values. The counselor also takes care of the value of society, family, culture, etc. to the group members. The values also represent what a person considers important in life. And these ideas of what is good or worthwhile are acquired through the modeling of the society and the personal experiences of the individual. 3.8.5 Values of Group Counseling. 1. Individuals can explore, with the reinforcement of a support group, their developmental and adjustment needs, concerns, and problems. Groups can provide a realistic, social setting in which the client can interact with peers who not only are likely to have some understanding of the problem or concern that the client brings to the group but who will, in many instances, also be sharing the same or a similar concern. The counseling group can provide the sense of security group members need to interact spontaneously and freely and take risks, thus promoting the likelihood that the needs of each of the members will be touched on and that the resources of peers will be utilized. The old saying that misery loves company may fact provide a rationale for group counseling. People are more comfortable in sharing a problem with others who have similar experiences, and they may also be more motivated to change. Under these conditions, group counseling may give the client an opportunity to gain insights into his or her own feelings and behavior. Yalo, 2005, in discussing the group as a social microcosm, stated that a freely interactive group, with few structural restrictions, will, in time, develop into a social microcosm of the participant members. p. 31. He also points out that given enough time in the group setting, clients will begin to be, themselves, interact with others, and create the same interpersonal universe they have experienced, including the display of maladaptive, interpersonal behavior to the group. Yalo also states that corrective emotional experiences in groups may have several components, including the following: a strong expression of emotion which is interpersonally directed and which represents a risk-taking on the part of the patient, a group supportive enough to permit this risk-taking, reality testing which allows the patient to examine the incident with the aid of consensual validation from the other members, a recognition of the inappropriateness of certain interpersonal feelings and behavior or of the inappropriateness of certain avoided interpersonal behaviors, the ultimate facilitation of the individual's ability to interact with others more deeply and honestly.
As clients gain new insights into their behaviors and feelings from interactions with members of the counseling group, their self-concept may also undergo a change. Because self-concept has significant influence on an individual's personal social adjustment and his or her perception of school and career decision-making, the opportunity to bring about positive change in self-concept through new insights provided by the group counseling experience can be a very valuable benefit. Group counseling provides clients with an opportunity to develop positive, natural relationships with others. The personal interactions that take place within the group counseling structure provide an excellent and continuous opportunity for group members to experiment with and learn to manage interpersonal relations. This includes developing sensitivities to the needs and feelings of others. It also provides opportunities for members to learn of the impact their behaviors have on others. Thus, through the group process and its interactions and sharing of experiences, clients may learn to modify earlier behavior patterns and seek new, more appropriate behaviors in situations that require interpersonal skills. Group counseling offers opportunities for clients to learn responsibility to themselves and others. Becoming a member of a counseling group implies the assumption of responsibilities. Even when clients show initial tendencies to avoid assuming responsibility for their own behavior, or avoid contributing to the group's interactions, or refusing to accept their assignment within the group etc., these avoidance techniques will usually fade as group relationships develop and group goals are established. The interactions within the group motivate us to plan and act and serve as a standard for judging the worth of activities, achievements, things, and places. In short, values give direction to life and, hence, behavior. On the other hand, people who do not know what they value often engage in meaningless, non-productive, and usually frustrating behavior. In both individual and group counseling, understanding the client's values can help the counselor understand the client's behavior, goals or lack of goals, and what is or has been of significance in the client's life. 3.8.6 Termination. For these same reasons, members may resist the termination of a counseling group. The very nature of counseling groups, with their emphasis on interpersonal relationships, open communication, trust, and support, promises the development of a group that the membership may want to continue indefinitely. It is therefore important from the very beginning that the group counselor emphasizes the temporary nature of the group and puts forth, if appropriate, specific time limitations. The counselor also reminds the group, as the time approaches, of the impending termination. This does not mean that the counselor alone is responsible for determining the termination point of a group. Although the counselor may, of course, assume this responsibility, termination may also be determined by the group members or by the group members and the counselor together. Termination, like all other phases or stages of the group counseling experience, also requires skill and planning by the counselor. Termination is obviously most appropriate when the group goals and the goals of the individual members have been achieved and new behaviors or learnings have been put into practice in everyday life outside the group. The group will also be ready to terminate when, in a positive sense, it has ceased to serve any meaningful purpose for the members. Under less favorable circumstances, groups may be terminated when their continuation promises to be non-productive or harmful, or when the group progress is slow and long-term continuation might create overdependency on the group by its members.
3.9 Summary. Humans are social animals and they enjoy one another's company, and in the process, they learn more. Individuals seek their social needs through group and they learn how through groups they can achieve their social needs. In group counseling, the concept of this gratification of needs through groups is considered in great detail, as the counselor uses these groups to help the individual to overcome not only individual problems but also how to get maximum satisfaction through interacting with the members of the group. Family is the place from where an individual starts his/her first learning. Whatever a person learns, he does so from his family members through communication, imitation, and dealings with day-to-day life problems. He enters the world with those knowledge, based on the experiences which he had in his family and in all his interactions with the family members. So the family is the first platform which provides the foundation to the individual to face the world as the individual grows up into an adult. In groups, an individual experiences dealing with significant others in the outside world and environment, and in the process learns the group values. These group values are beneficial for all interpersonal relationships, whether of friends, authority, or family members. The family itself may be viewed as a small system or network of relationships. The network of relationships can be understood in terms of I. Multigenerational approach, 2. Interpersonal relationship approach, and 3. Structural approach. In group activities, two terms are often used, viz. I. Process and 2. Dynamics, although sometimes these terms are also used interchangeably. In counseling they have different meaning. Group process refers to the continuous, ongoing movement of the group toward achievement of its goals. It represents the flow of the group from its starting point to its termination. It is a means of identifying or describing the stages through which the group passes. Group dynamics, on the other hand, refers to the social forces and interplay operative within the group at any given time. It describes the interaction of a group and can indicate the impact of leadership, group roles, and membership participation in groups. Counselors may view various group activities as occurring at three levels, viz. Group guidance, group counseling, and group therapy. In counseling, different types of groups are used depending on the nature of intervention needed. These groups are T groups, sensitivity groups, encounter groups, task groups, psychoeducation groups, mini groups, in-groups and out-groups, and social networks. This discussion is then followed by the process and techniques used in group and family counseling. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates. And we will see you with the next chapter.